This is Prime Crime Network.
Two teenagers are behind bars in connection with Saturday's mass shooting in Alabama. And within the last 30 minutes, authorities have charged a third person, a 20-year-old. 4 people were killed, 32 others wounded at a dance studio in Dadeville during a birthday party. Fox 5's Tyler Finger was there this morning as Alabama police announced the arrest of those accused killers.
A growing memorial marks the site of the mass shooting that rocked small-town Dadeville, Alabama. Days after gunfire erupted inside the Mahogany Masterpiece dance studio at a Sweet 16 party, 3 people have now been arrested.
This is Alabama. And when you pull out a gun and you start shooting people, we're going to put you in jail.
Law enforcement have charged 17-year-old Tyreek McCullough, 16-year-old Travis McCullough, and 20-year-old Wilson Hill Jr. with 4 counts of reckless murder, 1 count for each person killed, with more charges expected.
We're going to make sure every one of those victims has justice and not just the deceased.
Investigators have not said what sparked the shooting that cut short the lives of 19-year-old Marcia Collins, 18-year-old Phil Dowdell, 23-year-old Corbin Holston, and 17-year-old Kiki Smith. The shooting also left 32 others injured, with 4 still critical. Those from the small town watched as police announced the arrests.
I'm grateful that justice will be done, and I'm glad they got somebody.
Police say their focus remains on the families affected.
We're tired of going to the mothers and having to tell them that these kids are not coming home. We're not concerned about the headlines. We're worried about mom.
Investigators are not releasing a lot of details about this case to protect the investigation, but we should learn more when the suspects appear in court for the first time this week. Alabama police say that they are still waiting for some people to come forward who were actually at that party as this investigation continues.
Prime Crime Network.
It was exclusive.
Andrew Lester, 84 years old, before a Clay County judge Wednesday. He pleaded not guilty to 2 felonies connected with the shooting of 16-year-old Ralph Yarl.
I want him to make this as easy on the family as possible.
Yarl family attorney Lee Merritt saying the Castle Doctrine may come into play. That allows a homeowner to defend their life if they believe there's an imminent threat on their private property. Charging documents say Lester told police he believed Yarl was trying to open the door when he fired the 2 shots. Yarl told police, according to court documents, he did not try to open the door.
The fact that Ralph was on his property begins the conversation around the Castle Doctrine. But that's not all, obviously. You need to do more because everyone who comes on your porch is not open season.
We also asked a UMKC criminal justice professor what Lester may have to prove.
The person who's charged with the crime will have to argue that this threat was imminent and being, whether they were in the threshold of the door or inside of the house, that threat was the same.
Meanwhile, Wednesday, Lester was ordered not to have any contact with Yarl or his family. He was escorted out of the courtroom through a back door.
Prime Crime Network.
It was exclusive.
Heard on the news that they have been charged with misdemeanors, and it's just really disheartening.
6 months old and now a cherished memory.
But he was like 6 months going on 26. He was just like the sweetest little boy. We would always dance. He loved to dance.
Sunday around 5 p.m., the family inside the silver pickup truck then struck by the stolen Hyundai Sonata, according to police. The truck then head on into this large tree at Costner in Washington.
Truly the biggest nightmare.
The car seat still visible in the wreckage, neighbors rushing to the scene to render aid. Christian Uvithia, his mother, and 2 older sisters all rushed to the hospital in serious to critical condition.
I think a lot of it too, they've kind of blocked out just from the trauma.
The 6-month-old fought to stay alive for 3 days.
He suffered from a fractured skull, which caused his brain to swell and bleed, eventually causing him to go into a coma and then later passing away.
The offending vehicle crashed into a light pole, police later arresting a 14 and 17-year-old, both charged with misdemeanors, criminal trespass to a vehicle. The family now in deep pain, working to make funeral arrangements for a kid whose smile and infectious laugh will forever be missed.
Your however minutes long joyride ruined our life completely.
Prime Crime Network.
It was exclusive.
And he said, "You up my mom's car." And then he put out a gun and started bang, bang, bang.
A witness describes the violent turn after a woman in the blue Chevy Equinox rear-ended a driver in an off-white Ford Escape. The crash shut down a busy intersection of Inkster and Avondale around 2:15 Wednesday afternoon. Cell video from another witness shows the suspected shooter run away in a cast after firing shots at two women in the Equinox.
But he was clearly in the wrong for even bringing out a gun, shooting at a woman at that. It's crazy.
It's unfortunate that people just feel that it's okay to open fire in a populated area like this. And as you've seen all across the country, it's becoming more and more frequent.
The Inkster police chief says this appears to be a case of road rage. According to the group Everytown Research and Policy, since 2018, the number of people hurt or killed during a road rage incident has increased. Just last year in America, a road rage shooting victim was hurt or killed every 16 hours. In this case, the women weren't hit by bullets, but paramedics treated them for cuts and bruises related to the car crash. The collision and shooting briefly rerouted traffic as kids were dismissed from a nearby school.
The more concerning thing to me is that if it is a result of road rage, people just need to be more patient. The fact that you would feel that it's okay to fire rounds into a vehicle that was involved in a crash, they call them accidents for a reason. It's an accident.
In addition to this investigation, the police chief says they had to deal with the challenge of misinformation. He said there was rumor and speculation that this was a lot worse, that there was a mass shooting. Fortunately, that was not the case.
Crime Network.
It was exclusive.
The man that the Lehigh Police Department found with an 18-foot serpent wrapped around his neck has died. The 18-foot boa constrictor wrapped itself around Mr. Elliot Sensiman's neck so tight that the Upper Macungie resident was in cardiac arrest as emergency responders arrived to the 27-year-old's home on a Wednesday afternoon. Mr. Sensiman would die days later. Coroners ruled the man's death as an anoxic brain injury due to asphyxiation by the constriction. The manner of death was ruled by accident. Simple and plain, Mr. Sensiman died from a complete lack of oxygen to the brain.
A man who was found being strangled by a boa constrictor in Lehigh County last week. The county coroner there announcing that he has passed away. Upper Macungie police found 27-year-old Elliot Sensman at home in Fogelsville with a snake wrapped around his neck and body. Police shot the snake to get it off of him. The coroner reports Sensman died Sunday of a brain injury caused by a lack of oxygen.
And police confirmed this snake was a pet at the home.
I've been doing this job for 19 years. And I think this is the first time I've ever seen anything like this.
A life or death situation like they've never seen before. Members of the Upper Macungie Police Department say they responded to the 1400 block of Church Street in Fogelsville just after 2 p.m. That's where they found a 15-foot snake wrapped around a man's throat. Police say the 28-year-old victim was lying unresponsive on the floor of the home.
The officers had to make a quick decision. The snake was very much alive, and they were well aware that the snake could cause the officers damage.
One neighbor says she saw emergency responders swarming this property on the block. Police officers on location say it was like a scene from a horror movie. Everyone was in danger. They acted quickly, firing a single shot at the snake in an attempt to save the man's life.
The head of the snake was actually a far enough distance away from the victim that an officer was able to shoot the snake, at which point he did, and the snake kind of started to slither off, and the officers were able to pull the male away from the grasp of the snake. Had he not done that, I don't know how they would have released the male from the grasp of the snake.
Thank you for watching Prime Crime Network, your source for urban and suburban and around the world news. Hit the subscribe, like, and the notification bell. And check us out on PrimeCrimeNetwork.com.